Okay, so let's look ahead to the second half. And, we all love making predictions so much. I figured we'd do a podcast of predictions coming out of the first 8 games. So we're all going to have 2 predictions here of what we think will happen. Some might be big, some might be small, whatever it is. Uh, what might happen in the second half of the season for the Browns? Mary Kay, why don't you kick us off? Give us your first prediction.
Okay, the first thing I have is I think that Jarvis Landry is going to catch somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 touchdown catches in the second half of the season. He doesn't have any yet. It took the passing game a while to get rolling in the first half. It didn't really get rolling in the first half. They're ranked 29th in the NFL right now in passing. Who would have thought that? You were supposed to be able to pick your poison, right? Now, Jarvis has been playing with 2 cracked ribs, since that Colts game. That has not helped matters at all, because if not for that, he might have 2 touchdown catches in the Raiders game. So he just hasn't been himself at all. He has 33 receptions. That's first on the team, but it's still only about 4 per game. So it's not the typical Jarvis Landry Pro Bowl type of season that we're used to seeing from him. But now that Odell Beckham Jr. is gone, he's going to need to be the guy. I think he's going to feel a lot better with the ribs. I think Baker Mayfield's going to look to him a lot more. I think Kevin Stefanski knows better now how to use Baker Mayfield. And I think Jarvis will be targeted a lot more. I see a way better second half for Jarvis.
Well, I can't believe Mary Kay didn't take this. I thought for sure that when I wrote this down, Mary Kay's going to go first, and I'm not going to be able to. That's why I came up with more than 2. But my prediction is Myles Garrett's going to break the Browns' single season record for sacks, which is 14 and a half, which has stood since 65. Bill Glass. And who knows if anybody ever really had more than that, because the sacks really weren't an official stat until the late 70s, early 80s, I believe. So this is a case of people kind of going back in the record books trying to figure it out. So who knows? But 14 and a half is where we're standing. And I think, he's got 9 now. I think I haven't looked at the leaders since this past week's games, but I know he was tied for the lead with Aaron Donald going into the weekend. So he's set up really well. I mean, he's getting to the quarterback a ton and just causing all sorts of problems. I think this is the year that it finally happens.
Well, actually, Scott, he was going to be my second bold prediction.
Well, I hope you have another one.
I don't have another one, but by the time it comes around to me another time, I will have one for you guys.
My prediction, I guess this is a little bit of a downer, but I always get a little uncomfortable when, and I'm guilty of it. I do it all the time too, and I've probably done it on every podcast we've done for like the last 2 weeks. But I always get a little uncomfortable counting up wins, like saying, okay, they'll beat this team, they'll beat this team, they'll beat this team. If this team's going to get to 10 wins, it's going to happen because they beat either Baltimore or Pittsburgh. They're going to lose to one of these teams that they're going to be favored against. It's probably, if they do lose to one of these teams, it's probably going to happen in the next 2 weeks. So either like a shootout with Deshaun Watson, kind of like what happened against Cincinnati, except maybe it doesn't go their way this time, or that Philly pass rush shows up and just, forces Baker Mayfield to turn the ball over a couple times. I know Nick Chubb coming back is obviously enormous and maybe means that minimizes some of those things that could happen. But you usually don't win all the games you're supposed to win in the NFL. It's just kind of how it works. And they're not going to lose to the Jets. They're not going to lose to the Jags. But one of these games they're supposed to win, they're going to end up losing. And Tennessee, by the way, I'm not writing in as a loss. I don't put them on the same level as Pittsburgh or Baltimore. I think if they're going to get to 10 wins, they're going to have to beat Pittsburgh or Baltimore to do it.
Well, I'm just pulling this right off the top of my head right now. So I'm going to say that Case Keenum is going to have to start a football game for the Cleveland Browns in the second half for some reason, whether it be for COVID or for injury or for, something. Case Keenum is going to maybe not have to start the game, but play most of a game or a significant amount of a football game at some point in the second half of the season. And like I said, the only reason why I'm saying that is because things are getting a little weird with the whole COVID situation. As I mentioned before, Ben Roethlisberger is on the list right now. It just seems like we're going to have some COVID drama in the second half. There's just too many cases going around. There's just too much stuff going on in the NFL about it. As we know, they passed an emergency plan today, whereby 8 teams might make the playoffs in each conference if they lose a meaningful game at some point this season. So I don't know. I just feel like something like that might happen.